Hello everyone, welcome to Carnivorous Plants Hub. Today I'm going to be teaching a masterclass in repotting Venus flytraps. I'm going to cover when to repot, how to repot, and give you every tip and trick I've learned over the years repotting Venus flytraps. Before we jump into the main part of this video, I wanted to mention a couple of things. First off, and really important, this is not necessarily a care video. I'm going to cover certain aspects of care like planters and substrate, but for total care, a video will pop up on the screen at the end of this video. I'll also have a link to that care video in the description if that's something that you're interested in. I'm also going to cover this in more detail later, but head on over to my website, carnivorousplanthub.com, if you want to see my Venus flytrap repotting kits. They take the guesswork out of repotting. They come with the substrate and the planter. The amount of substrate that comes in the kit will always be enough to fill the planters that are included. Let me take care of the stress of having the right substrate and planter for you. There are a few different scenarios you're going to face when repotting a Venus flytrap. I'm going to cover all three of those scenarios for you. The first one is you have your own flytraps from the previous year and it's time to repot. This will involve you removing your old substrate and repotting your Venus flytraps. The second scenario is you've bought a Venus flytrap from a trusted seller or nursery. The plant either came bare root and you need to pot them up, or you need to remove them from their current substrate and pot them up in your own substrate and planter. The third scenario is buying from a big box or retail stores. If you buy from a big box store, I typically recommend to repot immediately in most circumstances. We will cover everything in this scenario as well. I'm going to cover each scenario, but before I do that, I want to cover the basics of repotting. I'm going to answer some of the biggest questions that I get in my comments. When do I repot? How often should I repot? I'm going to talk about the soil and planter requirements. These are all extremely important to understand when repotting a Venus flytrap. After I go over all the basics, I'll cover in detail each of the scenarios that I just spoke about. Let's go ahead and start with the two most common questions that I get. When should I repot and how often should I repot? Technically, you can repot a Venus flytrap whenever you want. In most cases, the process of repotting a healthy plant will not result in you killing it, as long as you know what you're doing. However, there are times that you can repot a Venus flytrap to minimize the shock to the plant. Typically, the best time to repot a Venus flytrap is during the winter dormancy period. During the dormant period, the plant will either slow way down or stop growing entirely. This is why it's the best time to repot. When you repot a Venus flytrap, there's usually a little bit of shock involved. Anytime you mess with plants' roots or change their growing conditions, they tend to go through a little bit of shock. Shocking them when their growth is already slowed or stopped is the best time. During dormancy or right before the growing season starts is definitely the best time. I do have a video all about winter dormancy if that's something that you're interested in or have questions about. That is also in the description if you want to check that out. Now let's talk about how often you should repot. I recommend repotting your Venus flytraps every 1 to 2 years. I try to put most of my Venus flytraps in large enough planters that it will sustain them for at least 2 years. If you're watering with distilled or very low TDS water, you can probably get away with it every 2 years. However, if you're watering with water that is higher TDS, let's say it's 30 to 50 TDS, then you'll probably want to repot them every year. Those dissolved solids will build up in the substrate and eventually make it toxic for the roots. TDS stands for total dissolved solids. You can measure the TDS of your water with a TDS meter. You want to make sure that the water you use is under 50 TDS. I am now also selling TDS meters along with the repotting kits in my store at carnivorousplanthub.com. Let's go ahead and talk about the soil requirements for just a moment. Just like we talked briefly about water, Venus flytraps need a substrate that is extremely low on any minerals or nutrients. Regular topsoil or any other potting soil you see at the store will kill a Venus flytrap rather quickly. Typically, I like to mix 100% pure sphagnum peat moss with perlite and some silica sand, or in my case, I used crushed glass. The crushed glass does the same thing as the sand, but it looks really great. The glass really sparkles in the sun. Always avoid anything from Miracle-Gro brand. They lace their soil with fertilizers that'll burn and kill Venus flytrap roots almost instantly. I like 3 parts peat, 2 parts perlite, and like 1.5 to 2 parts sand or crushed glass. I think it's best to rinse the peat moss before use. Some people say you don't need to rinse it, but I noticed a major uptick in my Venus flytrap's health when I started rinsing my peat moss. I also rinse the perlite, sand, and glass to get off any residual dust or debris. Venus flytrap roots really want access to water almost all the time. The top of the plant does not like being super wet. The peat moss does a great job of holding on to moisture. The perlite and sand or glass mixed in help keep the substrate aerated and allows for proper drainage. You need a really specific mix of good drainage and good absorption. The key is for the peat moss under the surface to always be wet and for it never to be boggy or muddy at the top. This mix will help you achieve that. A good substrate and the right planter are probably the two most important factors when repotting your Venus flytrap. I've started selling both individually, but I'm also now selling repotting kits. My kits come with high quality planters in one of two sizes, a bigger one that measures 7 inches deep and a smaller one that is just under 5 inches deep. I spent years perfecting my Venus flytrap soil blend. I hand mix the highest quality ingredients. I rinse every ingredient individually and then rinse it again once they're all combined. I also sift the peat moss and pick out all of the debris, like the sticks and bark. Getting one of my Venus flytrap repotting kits will take all the guesswork out of this process for you. Don't worry about the ingredients, let me do that for you. Each kit will come with enough substrate to fill the planter or planters that came with it. There will always be some left over. Head on over to my website, carnivorousplantshub.com, and see which kit is best for you. I have a video over on my website showing you my process for making my substrate. In my opinion, it's the best substrate that you can find online or anywhere else. Do not put your Venus flytrap in some cheap mix that you bought off Amazon. This is your plant's home. Give it the best shot you can to help it live. There's also a link to my website in the description and the pinned comment. I'm so excited to be teaming up with California Carnivorous. They are one of the most experienced and knowledgeable carnivorous plant nurseries in the entire world. They have a massive selection year-round of all types of carnivorous plants. There will definitely be something in their nursery that you fall in love with. On top of that, they have been generous enough to offer my viewers an exclusive 10% discount on their order when they enter Bug Eater at checkout. That's Bugeater, Bug Eater. I have links in the description and the pinned comment so you can head on over and pick out the perfect carnivorous plant to add to your collection. You know you deserve it. Let's go ahead and head on back to the video. Okay, I think we covered most of the basics. Let's really jump into how to repot a Venus flytrap. So you bought a Venus flytrap on impulse from a big box store, and now you're wondering, do I need to repot it? In most cases, the answer is yes. In almost every scenario, when you bring home a Venus flytrap from a retail store, I strongly recommend you repot it. There are a couple main reasons. The big one is you just don't know what's in the existing substrate. You don't know what substrate was used, and you don't know if someone has watered it with tap water. Venus flytraps hate the minerals and nutrients found in tap water. If someone decided to water it, that substrate could now be littered with minerals and nutrients that will burn the plant's roots and kill them. I recommend removing the Venus flytrap from the substrate and repotting. Bringing plants home from big box or retail stores is one of the few times I recommend repotting a Venus flytrap outside of the dormant period. I hate not knowing what substrate my Venus flytrap is in, so I want to get it out of whatever the soil is and into something that I trust. There is one exception to this. If a Venus flytrap seems really sick or almost dead, I do recommend nursing it back to health before repotting. The shock of the repot could finish the Venus flytrap off. I strongly recommend taking some distilled water and flushing the plant. Run water through the substrate several times and just let it drain out the bottom. This can flush out any harmful minerals or nutrients. Give the sick flytrap proper care and nurse it back to health. Once it's growing healthy flytraps again, I recommend repotting it into a more permanent home. Let's start this process by removing the Venus flytrap. You want to be as careful as possible with Venus flytrap roots. Breaking off roots is one of the quickest ways to really shock or possibly even kill the plant. You want to keep all of its roots intact, so it's important to be patient and delicate with this process. I like to squeeze the sides until I notice that the substrate has loosened up. Once it seems to have pulled away from the edge of the planter, I'll stick my fingers in and try to pull it out. Usually, the entire chunk of substrate will pull out with the plant. There are two different kinds of substrates that you'll often see when you're doing this. Long fiber sphagnum moss, which will usually be a brown moss that grows long and is wrapped around the plant's rhizome and roots. This substrate can be tricky to remove. It's important that you are super patient and very careful. It's easy to tug on a root thinking that it's a piece of moss. Also, the moss can get tangled in the roots and be hard to pull off. Unwrap and pull off as much of the existing moss as possible without damaging the roots. The other kind of substrate that you'll see is a peat moss mix. Peat moss is actually really easy to get off most of the time. It'll usually pull off in big chunks. If not, the easiest way to get it all off is to dip the substrate into a bowl of distilled water. Most of the time, the peat moss will fall apart and just fall off the plant's roots. Keep dipping the roots in the water and pull off as much of the old substrate as possible. A really common question that I get at this part is, can I just leave the plant in a clump of the existing moss or peat moss and just bury the plug into the new substrate? Most of the time, I don't like to do this. There are a couple of exceptions though. If you 100% trust the previous substrate and it's been less than a year since it's been potted up, then yes, I think that's probably fine. You can probably leave the substrate in place and just place the plug into a larger planter. Most of the time though, the reason we're doing this is to give the Venus flytrap fresh substrate. Leaving all the older stuff on there defeats the purpose of repotting. The old substrate can have built up minerals or nutrients that harm the plant's roots. It can contain mold or mildew that can harm the plant. And in some cases, it could even house critters that are harming the plant. Removing as much of the old substrate as possible helps combat all these things. However, never harm the roots when removing old substrate. If the old substrate is being extremely stubborn and you feel like you're going to harm or rip the roots off in order to get the old stuff off, you're better off just leaving it. I'll take all those other risks over harming the roots any day. All right, you got all the substrate off, and surprise, the roots are mostly black. Do not worry, this is normal. Venus flytraps have mostly black roots. The healthy roots will be mostly black and the tips will be a little bit white. The white tips are a good sign and show that the Venus flytrap is healthy and growing. The other thing you're going to see when you remove all the old substrate is a white rhizome. This is the growth point for Venus flytraps. Flowers and new traps will grow directly out of the rhizome. A healthy rhizome will be white. If you see some dark brown areas, it's okay to pull these off. Oftentimes it'll be kind of squishy and it'll just pull right off. This is also a good opportunity to pull off any dead black traps or leaves. It's hard to get to the underside of the plant while it's potted up. Take advantage of this opportunity while it's out to clean up the bottom. Leaving old dead growth can promote the growth of mold and mildew. Usually, the bigger the rhizome, the more healthy the plant is. Okay, let's go ahead and set the plant aside now, and let's prepare the substrate and the planter. I like to dump my substrate into a bin or a bowl of some kind, then add some distilled water. You do not want to try to repot a Venus flytrap with dry peat moss. It's seriously a huge pain in the behind. Make sure to wet down your substrate first. It doesn't have to be dripping wet. Just get it wet enough so that when you squeeze it, it maintains its shape. If there's water wringing out when you do this, you definitely have more than enough. Just know the more wet you make it, the more messy it'll be. Make sure when you repot, you're using a repotting mat like the one that I have here. Something waterproof. Often, as you're repotting, some water will drip out of the bottom of the planter. It can get a bit messy. Once your substrate is ready to go, set aside and let's prepare the planter. Okay, the first step to preparing your planter, I like to stick a small piece of paper towel in the bottom of the planter. This will help make sure that there's always something there to wick up water and helps make sure that the holes don't get plugged up with perlite. You always need these drainage holes to be available to wick up water. The best practice for watering a Venus flytrap is to bottom water via a tray. So you need to make sure that the plant can absorb that water from the tray. The paper towel helps with this. Once your paper towel is in place, you want to put about a ½ inch of substrate into the bottom of your planter. This layer I recommend packing down pretty hard. Packing it down can help it stay in contact with the bottom and make sure that there's always a layer down there to absorb and wick up the water. After that first inch, we're going to lightly pack the planter the rest of the way. A trick I've learned is to drop some of the substrate into the planter and then push down all the corners and the sides. This will help you avoid any holes or gaps in the substrate. Every new handful you put into the planter, push straight down into the corners and the sides and then level the substrate out. Keep doing this until your planter is full of substrate. The substrate is going to settle a bit, so I recommend going all the way to the top and even creating a small hump that goes about a ½ inch or so above the edge of the planter. Make sure everything above that first inch is a fairly light pack. You want your Venus flytrap roots to be able to travel through the substrate without any issues. If it's tightly packed, it can break up and not allow the roots to travel very well. Now we need to actually dig the hole that the plant is going to go in. You can use a screwdriver, a pen or pencil, or even your finger. Look at the length of the roots and the size of the rhizome. You want the bottom of your hole to be as deep as the roots in the top of the hole to be able to bury the rhizome. Once you have a hole that's big enough, lower the plant down into the hole. Try to guide the roots down with whatever you use to dig the hole. You want them to be stretched out and not all bound up if possible. You want to very delicately push the plant down into the hole so that the white of the rhizome is completely covered. Not too deep, you want the top of the rhizome to be under no more than about a 1/4 inch of substrate. Push the substrate up to the sides of the plant and firmly pack it into place. Now that you have the plant successfully in the planter buried just over the rhizome, we have one final step. It's time to top water. Odds are the hole you put your plant in still has lots of gaps, and the roots may not be in total contact with the substrate. The roots need that contact to be able to get water. In order to fill that hole in, we're going to top water the plant. When you top water, you'll notice that the substrate settles. This might even expose your rhizome again. No worries, this is a good thing. It means that the substrate settled and the holes are filling. Just push the substrate up and cover that rhizome back up once you finish top watering. Make sure when you're doing this that you put your plant somewhere you don't mind water shooting out the bottom. This step can get messy. You can even add some more substrate to the top to help cover the rhizome if you need to. Once you've covered your rhizome back up after top watering, it's time to get your plant into its tray of water and let it start growing. If you've received a plant from a trusted nursery, it is not necessary to repot it right away. However, depending on the size of the plant, you might need to repot it. Most of the time, even reputable nurseries will send plants out in planters that are a bit too small, which is just fine. That's part of the business. Usually they'll grow them from babies and the plants get larger and often grow out of the planters that they are shipped out in. If the planter seems too small, you should definitely repot. If the traps are reaching the edge of the planter and most of the top of the substrate is not visible, this is a good sign that the planter is too small and it's time to repot. If this is not the case, you can trust your nursery and allow the plant to stay in the planter. This might be a good candidate to wait until dormancy to repot. Once you decide to repot, you're going to follow the same steps as I outlined above. If you order a plant from a nursery or a seller and it comes bare root, you must repot that plant right away. If you need to buy a little bit of time, make sure to leave whatever that they used on the roots to keep them wet. You'll want to monitor the paper towel or moss or whatever they use to keep the roots wet. If it starts to dry out, just spray it with some distilled water to help keep the roots moist. In this scenario, you went over to carnivorousplantshub.com, you ordered a repotting kit, and it's arriving in a couple of days. But you got your plants earlier than you expected, and they were shipped bare root. Just keep those roots wet until the repotting kit shows up. The last scenario that I wanted to cover is repotting from your own collection. I'm guessing this is the least likely scenario that you are here. Usually, you've already potted your plants up already, and now you just need to rinse and repeat. Honestly, just follow the exact same process. Carefully remove from the old substrate, rinse as much of it off as possible, and pot up the plant in the new substrate. You can even use the same planter if the Flytrap has not outgrown it. Usually, when a Flytrap outgrows a larger planter, the plant has divided. When you go to repot it, you'll notice that there are several rhizomes and growth points. You can pull off any chunk that has its own roots, pot it up, and it'll grow into a new plant. These are called divisions. You can divide your Flytrap up, then stick the original plant back into its old planter. But you will need a new planter and fresh substrate for all those new divisions. In case I haven't mentioned it yet, I know a place where you can get some of those, carnivorousplantshub.com. Okay, now that we've covered everything that I can think of with repotting, if there's something that I missed, make sure to throw a comment down below, and I'd be happy to jump in and try to answer any questions that you might have. Now, I strongly recommend watching the video that's popping up on the screen right now. It covers total Venus flytrap care. It'll go over everything you need to know from lighting to watering to feeding. Venus flytraps do go against some gardening norms, so it's a good idea to make sure that you know everything you need to know about caring for these incredible plants. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today while we repot your Venus flytraps. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this content or you're finding it useful. I really hope to catch you in my next video. Bye.